Hey y'all, welcome back to Horse Ranch Mountain Farm. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Romans 13:8. Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law.
So today, we're going to tell you about how we got out of debt.
So how did we get out of debt?
We paid our bills off. No, we first got married. You tell that part.
Okay. So when we first got married, we lived in my parents' basement for about a year and a half or a little longer. And we had a opportunity to purchase a house that a family member was fixing to be foreclosed on because they had a lot of medical bills. And so they asked us if we wanted to buy it. So we did. And that's where we began more debt.
Yeah,
But it was investment too.
It was a humongous house. Big, huge house of 930 square feet.
Yeah.
But it had a basement.
Which we finished.
Yeah, we finished the basement, added a living room, a bedroom, bathroom, and then we built her a beauty shop down there, but it could have been converted into a kitchen.
Yeah, because of the plumbing.
And had a couple of storage closets, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then we had that house payment. I had a fairly new truck payment.
Yeah.
Had a credit card.
Yeah.
Had a lawnmower payment for the business and some equipment and stuff.
And a car payment.
And a car payment.
Yeah.
So we were in pretty good.
And then we got our first child, and then our second child, and then whenever we had our second child, then the Lord was like dealing with me about us living like this, paycheck to paycheck. And I was like, Lord, I don't want to live like this. How are we supposed to get ahead in life? Well, then somebody mentioned Dave Ramsey. Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
Because it changed our whole mindset of the way we thought about things.
It did. And we started tightening up. I sold my truck. I didn't want to at first, but I sure was glad I did.
And then tell them what kind of truck we got. A Dave Ramsey special.
Yeah, it was a Dave. We called it our Dave truck. It was
Yeah.
no beat up F-250. It looked like somebody took a sledgehammer all the way around it, but it had a new engine in it. And we paid what, $800 for that thing?
Yep, $800.
And it worked, and we'd laugh.
And tell them how it blowed smoke. And
Yeah, it
everybody
smoked,
laughed at
and
us.
it was the muffler was falling off of it. It was real loud. It was pretty funny to drive because everybody'd look at you. But and then the 08 thing hit, and we didn't know how we were going to make it for a little while, but we did. I got furloughed you would think at the fire department that you wouldn't have to worry about your job, but we were getting furloughed.
Yeah.
And
We just had to tighten up on things, and we were making it by the grace of God.
oh yeah,
And then,
we decided to sell our house.
yeah.
And everybody told us we were crazy because they said you won't get anything out of it. You'll lose money on it.
You're not going to be able to sell that right now.
But we did.
Yep. What is impossible with man is not impossible with God.
And
So
we
you know
actually
what?
made money off of it.
Yes, we did. And what we did when we sold it is we paid off the little bit of vehicle payment that we had left and our credit card. So then we were out of debt then. So then we moved back in my parents' basement, and while we were looking for a house, and my parents were like, take your time, look for a good deal, don't rush into anything.
And we're like, we'll find a house in no time.
And of course they wanted us to take our time because the grandkids were in their basement, of course, so they would just spoiling them.
But we were like, we'll find a house. It won't take us any time. But it was, what, a year, a little over a year?
No,
or
it was
something?
it was
Almost
right at a year, yeah.
Every time a house would go on the market and we put a bid in on it, one of these investment companies would just jerk it up. So we finally found one right before it went on the market.
Yes, and let me tell you the story behind that. Okay, so I went to tech school and got my cosmetology license and all that. That's another story for another video. But I did little birthday parties for little girls for their hairdos and stuff. So these people had hired us to come to their house to do their 2 twin girls' birthday party. So we did princess hair and wacky wild hairs. So we were in their garage. Well, when we were pulling up to this house, I thought, this is such a pretty house. Boy, I would love to be able to have a house like this. But at that time, we were so in debt. I was like, there's no way we could afford something like this. And so anyways, so as we were out looking for a house, we went looking Sunday after church. After we got out of church, I said, well, let's ride over there in that area where I did that birthday party. Well, we did, and we rode up to the house, and there was notes on it. So the house had been foreclosed on, and I was like, Nathan, we need to get our realtor on this, because we might get a good deal on this. And so anyway, so we called our realtor, we got her on it, and sure enough, it hadn't been put on the market just yet, but it was fixing to be put on the market.
Well, the bank had to fix it up.
Yeah.
It had a lot of damage. So when we bought that house, we got a deal on that house. I mean, a deal.
Yes.
And we didn't have to do anything to it. The bank had to paint it, put new carpet, floor, and all that kind of stuff in it. So we were able to just move.
They
right
didn't put
in.
new hardwood, but they
But
put
it
new
was in
carpet.
good shape.
Yes, it was. It was.
But we were able to just move right in the house. We didn't even have to paint anything.
It was a blessing from the Lord, definitely.
Because we were thinking we're going to have to renovate, a house that somebody destroyed because they got evicted from it. But we didn't. So this house had a full basement under it. It's a 2-story house with a full basement. And I think Tab's got a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah, let me show it to you.
But we finished the basement on that house, and we added a bedroom, a big living room, a storage closet, and area that could have been a kitchen and a bathroom. And there was a garage downstairs too. It's like a 1-car garage, and it could have been converted into another bedroom probably.
Okay, you want me to show? This was our first house that we were talking about in the beginning. This is our little bitty house that had the unfinished basement that we finished. It was 930 upstairs square feet and 930 in the basement. And then this was the house that we had before we sold it and moved here. And this is the one we're talking about right now. So when we bought our first house though, Nathan said, a lot of people have bought and sold houses, and after you live in them 2 years, you don't have to pay capital gain tax. So that's what we did at both of these places, which the first one we ended up staying there, was it six years? I think 6 years, I think it was. And then the last place we stayed there 8 years. And we had planned on, retiring and living. We thought that the last house that we bought, that's where we were going to be. So what I did is I started paying extra on those payments because my parents had done that as well, and they were out of debt. So I was like, I want to be like that. And of course, taking the Dave Ramsey thing, it changes your whole mindset. And the main thing is it's biblical. And so then, of course, because we saw in the Bible where it says to leave an inheritance to your children's children, we knew that we had to get out of debt in order to store up for our children and our children's children. And, and it also says to owe no man nothing but your love. So that's what we wanted to do.
Now, so while we're living at this house, we tried to grow a garden in the backyard and all. We grew a little bit of stuff, but we realized real quick that place was not for us. I mean, we had, what did I have, 3 big trailers at that place?
Yes.
2 or 3 trucks. We looked like the Clampetts in the subdivision. I mean, we kept it nice, but we just had too many vehicles and stuff and a camper. We had a big camper sitting in front of the house.
So we had stuff put neatly, and everything was kept real nice and neatly, but it was just, we didn't have any room for anything. We needed more land. And then we had this scare with Isaac back in 2017. And we're like, okay, we need to start growing more of our food. Mm-hmm. And we need more land. Well, then we did something that Dave Ramsey would not ever tell you to do. We took a mortgage out for the land.
It was a home equity loan.
Yeah, don't ever do that. But, of course, God, we knew that we heard from the Lord about this, and we felt strong, or else we would have not have done this. And I don't recommend doing this, but if you hear from God, and you know it's from the Lord, then obey the Lord always. So what we did is we took out a home equity, and I had paid a lot towards the house, so we had a lot of equity in the house.
A lot of equity in it.
And then, so we purchased this land. Well, we knew that we wanted to sell the other house by that point. We knew we wanted to sell the house. That is not where we wanted to retire and finish raising our kids. And so we put it up for sale, and then we did it for sale by owner. Well, then, of course, nothing happened. We showed a few times, and then we ended up listing it with a realtor. What was it? How much later was that?
Well, it was a couple months after that, I think.
Yeah, maybe almost 6 to 8 months.
It might have been.
Anyway.
And he kept telling us we weren't going to get what we wanted out of it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it. You need to lower the price. Lower the price. We're like, you're crazy. This house is worth a lot more than what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we finally
What's
switched to another
Yeah.
real estate agent he was more outgoing, more
Yes.
go-getter type. We sold that house with him in
Not long at
a
all.
month.
No, it
Or
was
was
a
it
little
even-
longer. It was a little longer than that, but it went quick compared
Yeah.
to a lot of places. So it went very quick. And then once we sold that, then
We moved back in your parents' basement.
no, we didn't. Not right away. We moved up here in the camper
Yeah, we put our
And-
camper up here on that big pad.
on the pad, which is now part of our house is on.
And it's one of our earlier videos where we showed building our house. We'll link to that in the description. And it shows the camper sitting up here on the pad, and we lived up here for,
Well, we lived up here until it got really cold
Yeah.
for wintertime, and we didn't want to have to insulate everything and worry about the pipes busting and all that because we were just like, this isn't going to work for wintertime.
so then we moved back in
we
your
moved in my
parents'
parents' basement for 3 months, just during the coldest part of the winter. And then we started building.
Mm-hmm.
While we were in their basement, we were actually building up here. But when we sold our other house, we took the money we made off of it, because as I told you, I was paying on extra payments on that house while we were living there. And then once we got 2 mortgages, I was still trying to put a little extra towards the house, and then I was paying this. So when we sold the house, we took money we made off of it and paid this land off and put up a pole barn. And then we put the pole barn up, and our goal was to enclose the lean-to parts. If you know, a pole barn is like this, and then you have your lean-tos on the side. And so we were going to leave the middle part open and then finish the lean-tos and live in those temporarily while we built a house. But then all
Yeah,
the
here
stuff
comes
with
COVID.
2020 started to happen, and the prices of materials started to skyrocket, and we're like, oh my gosh.
So during that, we decided that we were just going to close this end. Tabitha talked to her dad, and he said it would just be easier and quicker and cheaper to close the ends on this pole barn and just make that we decided to make it living room, dining room, and kitchen. And then the side shed on this side is the master and half bath and pantry. But we worked our hind ends off, and we got enough cash. We closed in the first side shed with 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a laundry room, and we were cooking in the camper. And we dried in the other side shed. So during COVID, I was able to get some. I pulled out some of my retirement. I didn't get it all at a really, really low penalty. It would have been what, 50% before, and it was like 10%. And I pulled it out, and we poured a concrete slab in the middle and closed the ends in, and we started finishing the big room.
Well, the concrete slab, we
did a job for
we did
that.
a job, and we took the money from it and poured the slab.
And then
then you took some
my
of your
money
retirement to finish closing
to finish
the big
closing
part.
that in, and then we left the master blank
Undone.
until we got enough cash to finish it.
And we just worked, and we would take on extra landscape install jobs, and then we just slowly finished stuff. And because we made the Lord a promise whenever we sold our last house, and when we completely got out of debt, we promised the Lord that we would never go in debt again, and that we wanted to live the way His Word told us to live, and that's our goal, is to live.
And
Like,
we haven't gone back into
we have
debt.
not went into debt, and we don't plan on going into debt. We want
Okay.
to just live a simple life out of debt and store up for our children and our children's children.
And the funny thing is, I always wanted another truck like the one I sold. and I paid cash and got one. What,
Yeah.
a couple years ago? 2 or 3 years ago?
Oh, I think it's been about 4 years now.
And it's really nice. It's
Yeah. So he got blessed because he was obeying the Lord and sold that truck that he liked so much. Then the Lord blessed him later on in years with a truck. And he had always talked about, man, I really like that truck. I just hate that I had to sell it to get out of debt. But he did it for his family. And he knew that's what the Lord was telling us to do. And then
Yeah.
the Lord blessed him with another one.
He did. And the only difference is different color.
Yeah.
But
you
I
wanted a
don't care.
white one to begin
Yeah, I
with.
did want a white
anyways.
one to begin with.
Yeah.
But we don't care about vehicles really. our stuff's older. The newest vehicle we got is what, a '04?
Yep, I know
Yeah.
4.
So we don't care.
No.
I mean, if people don't like us, we really don't care. They're really not your friend if
No.
they care about what you drive or where you live or stuff like that. So
keeping up with the Joneses is not a dream.
yeah, because
That's
most of the
just-
Joneses are in debt up to their head anyway.
And most of them, if they missed a paycheck, would lose everything they had. My mom used to work at the bank, and she goes, "You just wouldn't realize that so many people are in debt so up to their necks that if they
Yeah.
miss one paycheck, they're going to lose it all."
And it's the people that make everybody think they're rich, and
And
they're not.
and the thing is, that just stresses the body more. Just knowing that, oh my gosh, I could lose this if we don't, if anybody got sick or had to be out of work or anything, then that's just stress on the body that you don't have to have. And so I want to live where I don't stress my body out as much.
And we're not rich by any means,
No,
but
we're just blessed.
we're blessed and
Yes, from the
we
Lord.
live comfortably
Yeah.
because we don't have any debt. And everybody else freaks out when the economy turns and stuff, and we just live our life because we don't have payments.
And you know that the Lord will provide. He'll always provide. He said that He would always provide our needs. Not always your wants, because your wants sometimes get you in trouble.
That's
but He
right.
will always supply our needs.
If I got everything I wanted, I'd been in bad trouble.
Yeah, we'd be spoiled brats too. So we advise you, if you're not out of debt, to try to get out of debt as quickly as
It's
possible.
easier than you think too, because if you do that snowball thing, you just take your lowest payment and you throw every extra penny you have into it. And you can do it. You can not go out to eat so much. You just hit that lowest bill with everything you got. And then when you pay it off, you just take all that money up and put it towards your next bill. You get paid off, you put it towards your next bill. And it doesn't take long. We thought it would take years and years and years to get out of debt, but it really
Yeah.
didn't take that long.
No. Now, a lot of these, used to a lot of the churches in the area would offer a Dave Ramsey class. And that's where we took a Dave Ramsey class over at a church in Dahlonega. And actually, how did we even find out about it? We saw it on a bulletin somewhere, didn't we?
Somewhere.
And people had been mentioning it to me, and I had just heard talk of it. And I thought, Nathan, that would be good. And
I bet you can take them online now, I bet.
you probably could. But it's good to do in a group, because then you can get in group discussions and then
And encourage each
yeah,
other.
it really encourages each other. So we really enjoyed it, and we looked forward to it. It was on Wednesday night, and then they had a little nursery for our kids, so our kids would stay in the nursery, and then we would go upstairs to the class, and we had a really good time. We had good teachers too. So, but we'd encourage you, if you've not ever done a Dave Ramsey and you're in debt, then it's worth doing too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with all his investment strategies, but his getting out of debt part is the way to go.
Yeah, it is.
And guys, I had a goal. I wanted to be out of debt by the time I was 40 years old, but that didn't happen. I was 41,
And I was
a
37.
big whopping 37.
I know, so I was so
So
excited.
Tabitha made her goal.
Yeah.
Be out of debt before 40, but I didn't. But 41, who's 41 and out of debt? Not many people.
No. Well, y'all, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you're out of debt or have done the same things as us, leave a comment in the section below. And y'all don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe. Have a blessed day. Romans 13, verse 22. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just.